This popular houseplant doesn't actually exist. An exotic aroid that has become a classic among novelty houseplants. That would be the Anthurium Crystallinum, or Crystallinum. The thing is, botanical Latin doesn't have a correct pronunciation per se, since it's only utilized to differentiate and organize different plant species. So it really depends on how you pronounce this word, crystalline or crystalline. And can you tell why it was named that? This Anthurium has the most spectacular venation. It dazzles the eyes of any beholder, glittering like a fine dusting of crystals. Each velvet leaf surface is a dark emerald green and beautifully framed by the bright vein patterns. Being one of the most recognizable and popular aroids on the market doesn't happen by accident. This plant is simply stunning. Its beauty is not subtle. It demands your attention and commands the spotlight. It's a classic for a reason, and you just can't beat the classics. Oh, by the way, crystallinum as we know it might not actually exist. Yeah. Hold on now, release your clutched pearls and put away your pitchforks. Let's dig a little deeper. No plant pun intended. Now, before we get too deep into the weeds, that was a plant joke, we have to discuss the origin of the species and go all the way back to its roots. Another plant joke. Anyway, crystallinum has been found in the wild from eastern Panama to Colombia. It usually grows in a terrestrial form. This means it grows on the forest floor. However, crystallinum occasionally grows as a lithophyte, popping out of the damp crevice of a cliff, and an epiphyte, attaching itself to the bark of a tree. In an ecosystem as brutally competitive as the New World tropical rainforests, Anthuriums will make do pretty much wherever their seeds land. Surprisingly, crystallinum is thought to be most closely related to papilolaminum, genetically speaking, yet bears much more of a resemblance to other species like Clarinervium, Regale, and Magnificum. It is a member of the Anthurium section Cardiolontium, where velvet leaves are a common feature. The velvet texture is actually made up of tiny convex cellular walls on the lamina, or surface area of the leaf. These convex structures are more efficient at photosynthesis because they can capture light from many directions. An evolutionary feature like this allows these exotic plants to grow in some of the darkest corners of the rainforest floor, where only about 3% of sunlight makes it through the dense canopy above. Crystallinum was originally described in 1873 by botanist duo Linden and Andre. The original description was based on a plant collected in the Nueva Granada region of Colombia. The thing is, no specimen exactly matching the description has ever been collected from Colombia since. In this painting, we see a closed sinus, and supposedly no crystallinums matching that description have been found in the wild. Though Anthurium species are known to be highly variable, so not every leaf of every individual plant will always appear the same. The species on the market today that we all call crystallinum was widely cultivated in Europe during the time of German botanist Engler, and his writings mention an open sinus. To add to this confusion, the book, Aroids, Plants of the Arum family, indicates it is found from Panama to Peru. However, the Missouri Botanical Garden database shows no collections made in Ecuador or Peru. And this is where the godfather of aroids himself, Thomas Crowett, works. He's collected and described more aroids than anyone. Are you understanding this any better? Yeah, I didn't think so. The problem is not just poor documentation, but also very limited documentation. the Anthurium genus has not been widely studied over the years, so it's hard to know for sure which study or claim is the most accurate, not to mention which ones might be mistaken or misinterpreted. But that hasn't stopped nurseries from breeding and hybridizing this plant for sale. And over the years, mutations and sports have popped up in the process, creating some noteworthy cultivars. Crystal Hope is one example of a sport variation, where the silver venation is so intense, it sometimes covers almost the entire leaf. Another prominent variation is the Fairchild Tropical Garden, or FTG Crystallinum, which popped up in Fairchild Conservatory decades ago. While little is known about where this particular crystallinum came from before appearing at FTG, its unique appearance compared with other crystallinums on the market makes it highly desirable, and carry a hefty price tag. Then there is the red crystallinum. Red crystallinum originates from the collection of Tim Anderson of Palm Hammock Orchid Estate in South Florida. Its appearance is similar, but more intense. The leaves are darker, the veins are bolder, and the emergent leaf color is the most vibrant crimson red. This is most likely a complex hybrid, rather than a cultivation of the true species. Many crystallinums on the market are believed to actually be hybrids with other anthuriums such as Forgetii, Magnificum, Regale, and Dressleri, the result of poorly documented breeding. Some sellers claim true or pure crystallinum is exceptionally rare, and yet it bears nearly identical resemblance to the alleged hybrids flooding the market. Some of the most remote regions of the South American tropics is where Anthurium crystallinum calls home. And who knows, maybe that original closed sinus crystallinum is still out there, hiding, waiting to be rediscovered. But for now, we'll have to make do with the crystallinum we know today. And that shouldn't be too much of an ask. We are talking about one of the most beautiful aroids in the world, after all. Like I said, it's a classic for a reason. And you just can't beat the classics.